picture to design 3D prototype with a working model of products. After they have finished designing their 3D prototype, the teacher gave them free time to make real for testing in the real world. Next to the sixth step is test and refine. Students test the effectiveness of their prototype in the real context and use the results to refine their prototype design until the most effective prototype were achieved. The last step is communicate and reflect. This step of engineering design process. The students wrote STEM project reports and presented them to other students to reflect on the progression of their projects and what they learned from projects. Let's look at the fourth part, assessment in STEM Pbl. The following are the formative assessment tools that were used to evaluate student learning during each step of engineering design. For example, observing student learning behavior, writing STEM project report, presenting STEM projects, evaluate their prototype, writing student reflective journal, and conducting informal interview. We are going to the last part, successful student STEM projects. STEM Pbl and enhance student activity and innovation. You can see the successful student STEM project in the picture. Their STEM project were on display at the school open house festival. For example, automatic fish feeder and automatic hydroponic system use solar power. Students also receive prizes for the science invention competition from Bangkok Student Handicap Fair. If you are interested in STEM Pbl, the third reference listed below is a good way to start. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. สหรัฐยกย่องสหรัฐขออภัยครับ Thank you, Mr. สหรัฐยกย่อง Teacher from ศิริรัตนาธร School. So now we are going to listen to the next speaker. Please let me introduce the speaker, Mr. Ratanashai Manprom, the teacher computer at Siri Ratanathon School. Work experience in 2016 to 2018, being a teacher, being computer teacher at นวมินทราชินูทิศเตรียมอุดมศึกษา น้อมเกล้า School. In 2019, assistant teacher at Siri Ratanathon School. Teaching in subject computing science in Mathium 1. Design and technology in Mathium 1. Graphic design in Mathium 6. Video editing in Mathium 6. Certification. Training for teaching computational science process at the lower secondary level. Training in Python programming language. Silver medal creating animated cartoon junior high school. So now please welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ratanashai Manprom. I'm computer teacher at Siri Ratanathon School. Today, I'm going to present a collaborative learning process in computational science. Problem. First, the student cannot code computer program. Second, the student cannot solve the problem systematically. And third, the student cannot explain the problem solving step. Background and importance of the problem. 21st century skill. First, learning and innovation skill. Next, information, media, and technology skill. And life and career skill. Learning and innovation skill. First, creativity. Second, innovation. Third, critical thinking. Fourth, problem solving. Fifth, communication. And sixth, collaboration. Hypothesis. The first, the student who learn through collaborative learning process has a higher score than that before learning. Next, the student satisfaction toward collaborative learning process was in a high level. Population. The simple group is the student in grade 7 class 1. After I read the journal about the problem solving of the learning process, I got an idea about collaborative process. There are 4 steps of the process. First, introduction. Second, brainstorming. Third, presentation. And fourth, conclusion and evaluation. Introduction. I let the student play game to ice break team. Next, then make student group of 5 to do the activity. And I explain about the object of the lesson. Brainstorming. The teacher showed the problem to the student and the student makes a brainstorming. Presentation. Each group of the student presents the idea of the solution. Conclusion and evaluation. Let them discuss about the best solution and the teacher show them about the best solution. At last, the teacher gave the student evaluation form. The student answered the form to show their satisfaction about the learning process. Conclusion. The result of the efficiency analysis of the innovation in this research. After learning through this process, the student had an improved score at 81.4%. The student who learned through collaborative learning process has a higher score than that before learning at the 0.01 level of significance. The student satisfaction toward collaborative learning process was in a high level. Thank you. ครับเรียบร้อยแล้วนะครับเชิญวิทยากรมาเลยครับ
Thank you, Mr. Saharat Ratanashai Manpro, the teacher from Siri Ratanathon.
เปิดไมค์ด้วยครับพี่
That's very interesting project. Next, we'll move to see the next presentation of the next speaker. So let me introduce the speaker, please. So the next speaker is Miss Ruchipa Bunsri, the English teacher at Siri Ratanathon School. For job title, Assistant Deputy School Director, Budgeting and Planning, Head of Policy and Planning Department, Teacher in the English Program and Foreign Language Department. Work experience, Special English Lecturer for Kasesa University, Bangkok, Bangkok University, Kuai Nam Thai and Rangsit. Scholarship for Online Asia Pacific Exchange Teacher 2021 by UNESCO APCEIU, Ministry of Education Korea and Thailand, Bangkok. Scholarship for Asia Pacific Exchange Teacher in 2019 by UNESCO APCEIU, Ministry of Education Korea and Thailand, in short, Republic of Korea. Certificate for Bootcamp Gen 2 from British Council for the teacher who gets CEFR, scoring in B1 to B2 level. Representative of Thailand, sharing experience of Online Asia Pacific Exchange Teacher 2021 in SSAEM International Conference 2021. Speaker provides CEFR training course from Human Capital Exchange Center, HCEC, for Thai teacher and management team in secondary and primary level for the Eastern region. Lecturer provide ONIT English tutoring courses for Mathyom 6 students in south of Thailand and Siri Ratanathon School. So now please welcome.
สวัสดีค่ะ All right. Please let me check the slideshow. Have you seen it right now? Okay. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ruchipa Bunsi, the representative of Siri Ratanathon School. Well, today I would like to present and share my experience about project-based learning. The starting point was that in 2019, I was given an opportunity to participate in Asia Pacific Exchange Teacher Program held by UNESCO FCU, Ministry of Education, the Republic of Korea and Thailand. Although I am an English teacher, I didn't teach English during this exchange program. Instead, I had to teach technological home economics class. It sounds interesting, right? I was teaching about how to make Alpha Car IoT, which can be controlled by your mobile phone via Bluetooth. What we did in class was a very good inspiration of project-based learning. The objective was very clear that students will learn about one of SDGs, which is Sustainable Development Goals, which is how to build resilient infrastructure, how to promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and how to promote efficient resource utilization that must be clean and environmentally friendly. Students are given an assignment to design, to create, and to try out their own car models that can really commute, and to solve the problem of energy scarcity in the near future. This is truly a project-based learning that encourages students to be innovative and creative Having seen the success of project-based learning from Korea, as the head of policy and planning department, I magnify the outcome to the principal and all the teachers in our school to have the school project about IoT and robots. With the collaboration of computer teachers, we apply this idea to our Thai school. What we implemented since 2020 was to embed the project-based learning into our curriculum as a fundamental course. Computing science หรือวิชาวิทยาการคำนวณ is a mandatory class for lower secondary level students, while upper secondary level students have AI program to choose from. Let me give you one great example output from the project-based learning that demonstrated the application of computer science. Our students from Siriratanathon School came up with an idea to create emergency smartwatch with high efficiency application on mobile phone. They started off by defining the current situation where the death of children partially comes from drowning. So to help parents monitor this incident, this smartwatch innovation served as a safety tool that would notify them in advance. This clearly demonstrates that students could actually adapt their learning from projects to apply in real-life situation. The students' skill set doesn't stop here. Not only they manage to use their creativity to come up with such innovation, but they also manage to bring this to a larger scale at international level. This project got submitted as one of the participants in a competition called Pitch School, held by Gen Global Entrepreneurship Network. Students from different schools are encouraged to share their projects and try to pitch and present their ideas in English to entrepreneurs. This illustrates our students' ability to showcase their success to a much larger audience, the real entrepreneurs, which is not only limited within their own school. To sum up, from the project-based learning, students were able to gain hands-on experience on two key topics. The first one is 21st century skill sets. Right now, in this era, the young generation must be able to learn and start adopting new skill sets such as critical thinking, creativity, collaborations, communications, technology literacy, initiative, entrepreneurship, and many more, in order to become successful in the future. The second one is proficiency in English. Of course, we all know how important it is nowadays for everyone to be able to communicate well in English. Not only learning English in the classroom, we can see that students also have the opportunity to practice their language skills from integrating and running these kinds of projects. So I hope the content I have showcased just now from Siriratanathon School could give you an idea of project-based learning and hopefully inspire you to utilize or adapt this further in your relevant field. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you, Ms. Ruchipa Bunsi, the teacher from Siriratanathon, for the presentation. That's very cool presentation. It's very awesome project. So now, before we move to the next speaker, let's meet in from the participants for a while. So, to the participants who are joining in Zoom application or watching through Facebook Live or YouTube Live, you also get the certificate. Everybody will get the certificate. Don't worry about it. ฝากแจ้งถึงผู้เข้าสัมมนาทุกท่านไม่ว่าจะอบรมผ่านทาง Zoom application หรือ Facebook Live หรือYouTube Live นะครับทุกท่านจะได้รับ เกียรติบัตรนะครับทุกท่านเลยหลังจากที่จบการสัมมนาเดี๋ยวจะมีการส่งลิงก์ให้นะครับไม่ต้องกังวลในส่วนของการได้รับเกียรติบัตรนะครับจะได้รับทุกท่านที่ชมผ่านทุกช่องทางนะครับไม่ว่าจะเป็น Zoom Facebook Live หรือ YouTube นะครับจะมีลิงก์ให้ทำแบบประเมินให้กับทุกท่านเลยนะครับ Alright, so we'll come back to listen to the next speaker. So let's me introduce the speaker. Mr. Thosawat Sajing, the teacher from foreign language teacher from Siriratanathon School. So work experience. SMIT Institute as the position of Thai language teacher for foreigner and English for worker in Bangpoo Industry Estate. Freelance tutor for 3 students for 4 hours a week. Design board games, card games, and class game for Active Learning Human Capital Development Center, Suandusit University. STEM education at Ramkhamhaeng University. Intensive speaking, listening, reading, and grammar process writing letter for job application. So now please welcome.
Greeting, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Thosawat Sajing. I'm an English teacher from Siriratanathon School. Today, I'm gonna share my class activities, which is mini project-based learning. The content of my English class is like everyone's. The aim is to communicate, not like the subjects using PBL that you are familiar with, like science, computer, or home economics. So how are we gonna do the PBL in such a subject? I'll talk about this later, but firstly, I'd like to talk about the study context of my school. My school provide the ways to learn through the emergency remote teaching during COVID pandemic in 3 ways: online, on-hand, and hybrid. And there are many positive in learning these ways, but I'm going to talk about the problem. The problem that we as teachers are facing nowadays is the internet connection strength. Like, as we know, one of the major blocks with the online learning is the lack of a strong and stable internet connection as the one used at home. The second problem is the assessment. The assessment, it is the right manner to do in the education system under the normal situation, but in online situation, it is quite different and difficult. Why is it difficult? Let's see the third problems. It is the restricting cheating in instance, like we cannot control the class while the students having an exam. So it is possible for a few of them to cheat on the exam. And the last one, it is the most significant challenge for online teaching. It is the monotony. Or I can say in another word is boredom. The students are bored in learning online. And I have 2 solutions here. The first solution will solve the problem of the assignment. It is the alternative assignment. I'm sorry, alternative assessment. There are many alternative assessment, for example, presentation, essay, journal, role play, or model building. But one of them is the Pbl, which will solve the rest of the problem. I'll show you. This is the features of my mini Pbl that the topics is about the COVID, which is related to the students. The second feature is to improve the students' writing skill through Pbl. And the last, the student will be able to work with people in a team. This is the process of my mini Pbl in the class. First, I'm gonna ask the question for the student. The topic will be how the education would change after COVID pandemic. After that, student will work in a group of 4. And then the student will work in the group and study and gather the information on the topic. Then the teachers, as a facilitator, helps check the students' data if they got data correctly. Next, on every period, the students report their progression of the project. And then the teacher looks over the students' writing, and the student will present their project in the form of poster. As you can see, my mini Pbl is not that that complicated like the previous project that you have seen. But I just use the process of the Pbl to create an activities in my class. I think not only just those subjects you know can use project-based, but other subjects like my subject is English. You can just apply the process of the Pbl to your students by starting by asking a question and have them find the answer. This is the expected outcome I want them to have. The student will develop their learning skills, including time management, note-taking, reading and writing effectively, and teamwork. And the last, the student have good attitudes in learning English. And I think Pbl is the answer, is one of the answer to solve, to help the students to get their goal. And I hope my example will encourage you to apply Pbl to your class. And this is my presentation. Thank you for listening, and don't hesitate to ask questions after the seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thosawat Sajin, teacher from Sri Ratanathon School. Oh, wow. Many students from Sri Ratanathon have many interesting projects to present today. I hope that every teacher, every school that participating now will get a lot of knowledge and idea to use in your project of your school. So now, next we're going to listen to the next speaker. So let's me introduce the speaker. The next speaker is Ms. Patharalak Phokong and Mr. Wuttipong Buttaisong, the teacher from Science and Technology Department at สตรีวิทยา 2 ในพระราชูปถัมภ์สมเด็จพระศรีนครินทราบรมราชชนนี Award and impressive work. Project leader special intensive science and mathematics classroom in high school. Good Teachers Award at Nwanjan United Campus 16 in 2021. Teacher who trained students to participate in science project competitions in arts and crafts. So now please welcome
Hello everyone. On behalf of Science and Technology Department, Stay Vittaya 2, we would like to welcome you here today. My name is Pbl Model and it was our pleasure to share teaching experience on project-based learning. First, let me talk about project-based learning or Pbl. Project-based learning in accordance with short DOE concept of learning by doing. He said, education is a process of living and not a preparation for future living. Focuses on students' life experience while studying to develop various skills in accordance with 6 levels in Bloom's taxonomy, namely remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Project-based learning is a learning management that focuses on learner as important because learners have to practice various skills on their own every step of study. The teacher is the organizer of the learning experience.
Okay, next, let me give you about inspiration to teach on project-based learning. Number 1, project-based learning encourages higher order thinking skills, which are essential in the 21st century. Essential skill in the 21st century is 3R 7C. 3R, namely, reading, writing, and arithmetic. 7C, namely, critical thinking and problem solving, creativity and innovation, cross-cultural understanding, collaboration, teamwork, and leadership, communication, information, and media literacy, computing and ICT literacy, and career and learning skills. Number 2, we are the teacher in charge of the intensive science and mathematics program we call ISM for short. Our goal is to improve students' higher order thinking skills, as well as their ability to think, act, solve problems, and creative innovation. This is in accordance with number 3, the strategy outlined in the most recent National Education Development Plan. The strategy to this development of people, research, and innovation for the country competitiveness. In addition, we have an MOU with Tokyo Metropolitan Tama High School of Science and Technology in Japan. Has studied and exchange project-based learning. As we said before, it inspires us to teach on project-based learning and concentrate on STEM projects, starting with a group of students in intensive science and mathematics programs.
Next, I would like to expand on STEM project. That we know that S is science, T is technology, E is engineering, and M is mathematics. So STEM project is a project that apply knowledge science process skills, technology, and mathematics to solve problems or meet real-world needs. Applying engineering design processes. Following are the 6 steps. Number 1, problem identification. Number 2, related information search. Number 3, solution design. Number 4, planning and development. Number 5, testing, evaluation, and design improvement. And the last one, number 6, is presentation. We follow these steps to achieve results such as workpiece or methods that can be used appropriately and effectively.
Okay. Now we will move on to the next topic. You will see that we have a 4-step procedure for completing project. Number 1, providing knowledge. Number 2, selecting project topic. Number 3, proceeding as a plan in the project. Number 4, presentation of project for evaluation. Next, I will talk about our first step, providing knowledge. Number 1, explain the background and importance of STEM project for innovation. Number 2, explain the project purpose, format, and procedure.
Yes. Next, we will move on to second step, selecting project topic. Number 1, divide students into groups, and in this semester, we divide 5 or 6 students per group. Number 2, select a project topic. Number 3, discuss to different project topics. Number 4, proceed to collect data to write project proposals. And the last one, number 5, present project proposal to the advisor.
Okay. The last step in the project procedure is number 2. Select a project topic. From our teaching experience, we found that the main point inspire or give my student an idea for the project. Number 1, solving problem or developing innovation related to daily life. We give students the opportunity to analyze problem or real-world needs in daily life, family, or community. Number 2, studying from the last year project of the senior for further development. Number 3, collecting data from study trip in scientific organization or science camp. Number 4, learning exchange with students from Japanese school where we made an MOU. This picture is discussion to different project topic in our class. Next, you will see example of student project topics. Number 1, the incense stick hood, เครื่องดูดควันธูป. My students were inspired by the elderly at home who like to light incense stick to pay respect to the God. ก็คือเราจะพยายามทำให้หัวข้อโครงงานวิทยาศาสตร์ของเราค่ะหัวข้อโครงงาน STEM ของเราเนี่ยเกี่ยวข้องกับชีวิตประจำวันของนักเรียนให้ได้มากที่สุดค่ะเพราะว่าสิ่งที่ยากที่สุดของเราก็คือการกำหนดหัวข้อนะคะต่อไปค่ะ Number 2, the automatic pill dispenser เครื่องจ่ายยาอัตโนมัติ for alerting the elderly who are at home alone. If the elderly does not take the medicine from the machine will notify the descendant line application. อันนี้เป็นสำหรับผู้สูงอายุที่เขายังสามารถช่วยเหลือตัวเองได้อยู่แต่ว่าอาจจะอยู่บ้านคนเดียวแล้วก็ลูกหลานก็จะเป็นห่วงเรื่องการทานยานะคะค่ะ Number 3, the glycerol separator เครื่องแยกไขมันในน้ำเสียจากเศษอาหาร Glycerol machine from the food waste water by using chitosan and separate water and gases into layers automatically by order of Arduino board. Number 4. The organic waste compost machine เครื่องทำปุ๋ยหมักพืชสด for shorten the time of fermentation by 15 days. Number 5. Housing asset security and navigation system ระบบรักษาความปลอดภัยแล้วก็นำทางในหมู่บ้านจัดสรรค่ะ This innovation is a system for guiding people who non-resident to the research home and alert them when leaving the house estate. Okay, during the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus, my students have projects such as the smart cash counting and germicidal machine เป็นเครื่องนับเงินพร้อมฆ่าเชื้ออัตโนมัติค่ะ Next, the intelligent parcel receiving machine เป็นเครื่องรับแล้วก็จัดเก็บพัสดุพร้อมฆ่าเชื้ออัตโนมัติค่ะเพราะว่านักเรียนสังเกตว่าช่วงที่มีการ work from home กันเนี่ยทุกคนก็จะสั่งของออนไลน์กันเยอะค่ะก็เลยคิดเป็นโครงงานตัวนี้ขึ้นมาค่ะ
Next, I will tell you about selection principle. As you can see, we have a selection principle based on the criteria least useful, interesting, and exotic. Students have knowledge and skills to use the equipment. Students have knowledge resources. Materials can be supplied or made as needed. Students have enough time to complete their project in about 1 semester. Self. And the last one, students have enough budget.
Okay, next. In our third step, proceeding as a plan in project. As a result of the proposal pass, the project will proceed as planned with weekly update to the project advisor. The advisor will assess progress and observe the process skill in the proceeding for authentic assessment. Then, in our last step, presentation of project for evaluation. My students will present their projects and innovation to the class with advisor, author, teacher, and classmates as evaluator.
Next, I will tell you about authentic assessment in our class. For the evaluation, we focus on authentic assessment based on the list. Number 1, evaluate skills and scientific methods from the observation of practice. Number 2, evaluate the project report, 5 chapters. Number 3, evaluate innovation from the usefulness and practicality of innovation. And evaluate presentations with poster or PowerPoint present. Furthermore, we give grade 11 students or Matayom 5 students the opportunity to exhibit their projects inside week or author-related activities, present knowledge and innovation from project procedure. In ISM program, grade 10 students or Matayom 4 students have to study STEM project in next academic year. We give them the opportunity to study the seniors project from last year in order to inspire them.
Okay. สำหรับภาพที่ทุกท่านเห็นอยู่นะคะอันนี้จะเป็นตัวอย่างของโครงงานในปีที่ผ่านมานะคะอันแรกจะเป็นราวตากผ้าที่ถ้าเวลามีฝนตกมาค่ะจะมีเซ็นเซอร์ที่จะจับน้ำฝนแล้วก็ราวนี้เขาก็จะเก็บได้อัตโนมัติค่ะแล้วก็เมื่อเซ็นเซอร์จับได้ว่ามันแห้งแล้วก็จะกลับออกมาตากแบบอัตโนมัติเช่นเดียวกันค่ะสำหรับภาพที่2นะคะจะเป็นตัวอย่างเป็นต้นแบบเนาะถังขยะค่ะที่ใช้ตามพวก คลินิกอะไรต่างๆนะคะที่เป็นขยะติดเชื้อนะคะเมื่อใส่ในถังขยะตรงนี้แล้วเนี่ยมันจะมีการซีลปิดถุงแบบอัตโนมัติค่ะไม่ต้องให้เราเนี่ยนำมือไปสัมผัสนะคะสำหรับภาพที่3จะเป็นโครงงานหลังคาค่ะเป็นการใช้วัสดุหลายๆอย่างเพื่อลดเสียงจากฝนนะคะที่กระทบกับหลังคาสำหรับภาพถัดมานะคะภาพด้านล่างภาพด้านล่างซ้ายนะคะอันนี้จะเป็นหุ่นยนต์ลายบอร์ดค่ะจะเป็นหุ่นยนต์ที่เราจะติดเอาไว้ที่ประตูหน้าบ้านนะคะแล้วก็เวลาที่มีคนผ่านไปผ่านมาหรือว่ามีคนมาหาเราหรืออะไรประมาณนี้นะคะมันก็จะจับภาพแล้วในลายบอร์ดตรงนี้นะคะนักเรียนเขาก็จะมีการใส่ข้อมูลไว้ว่าเป็นภาพคนที่รู้จักคนที่ไม่รู้จักหรือว่าอาจจะเป็นสัตว์หรืออะไรอย่างนี้หรือเปล่าค่ะใช้เวลาแจ้งเตือนเวลาที่เราไม่อยู่บ้านนะคะแล้วก็สำหรับภาพสุดท้ายนะคะจะเป็นเครื่องนับเหรียญอัตโนมัตินะคะซึ่งเครื่องนับเหรียญตัวนี้นักเรียนเขาก็คิดค้นออกมาเนื่องด้วยว่าแบบบางทีเราเก็บเหรียญไว้เยอะแล้วเราจะต้องไปธนาคารไปฝากหรืออะไรประมาณนี้ค่ะนี่เป็นตัวอย่างโครงงานของเมื่อปีที่แล้วค่ะ
ครับ And next I will talk about project team. During the teaching process, we have a lot of teachers in our team who advise students, such as science teacher. We have physics, chemistry, biology, and general science. Computer teacher who advise with programming, as well as the support of the student parent. Next, I will tell you about effect of teaching on PBL. Students able to construct body of knowledge to practice and create innovation. In addition, students also have the following skills. Number 1, teamwork skills. Number 2, systematic planning skills. Number 3, solving problem skills. Number 4, science process skills. And number 5, essential skill in the 21st century. It is an important skill that can be applied in daily life as well as learning new things. Students also create self-esteem from the success of the project. And STEM projects can be used as special contributions for university or higher education admission.
Proud of our continuous achievement. We encourage students to participate in project competition. We won prize in an arts and craft competition as well as a gold medal in an innovation project and science invention contest such as we won silver medal at national level of science invention contest as at the arts and craft competition สำหรับโครงงานอันนี้ค่ะเมื่อครู่นี้เป็นโครงงานเครื่องจ่ายยาอัตโนมัติค่ะก็พัฒนาต่อมาจากรุ่นแรกๆค่ะแล้วก็ได้เป็นเครื่องมือชนิดนี้มานะคะแล้วก็ได้รับรางวัลมาค่ะถัดไปค่ะ We won the gold medal first runner-up of high school science project contest type of innovation at the 69th Art and Craft competition for the academic year 2019 สำหรับนวัตกรรมตัวนี้นะคะจะเป็นราวตากผ้าอัตโนมัตินะคะเป็นราวตากผ้าสำหรับคนที่อยู่ในคอนโดมิเนียมหรือว่าหอพักนะคะนักเรียนเขาคิดค้นขึ้นมาเพราะว่าในฤดูฝนเนี่ยฝนตกตลอดผ้าจะไม่แห้งใช่ไหมคะคนส่วนใหญ่ก็ใช้พัดลมใบพัดอย่างเงี้ยค่ะแต่ทีนี้นักเรียนเขาก็คิดค้นเป็นราวตากผ้าที่สามารถจับความชื้นได้แล้วก็หมุนได้เองเมื่อแห้งก็จะปิดเองค่ะแต่ถ้าเราตากผ้าโดยใช้พัดลมพัดเอาไว้อย่างเงี้ยถ้าเวลาเราแห้งเงี้ยเราก็อาจจะยังไม่ทันได้ปิดมันก็จะสูญเสียพลังงานนะคะซึ่งปีนั้นเนี่ยมีพายุหมุนเนาะเป็นพายุหมุนชื่อฮักกิบิสนะคะนักเรียนก็เลยตั้งชื่อราวตากผ้าตัวนี้ว่าราวตากผ้าฮักกิบิสค่ะ And this academic year my students present their project at the second international conference for students in science and innovation ISSI 2021 a bronze medal was awarded to them in the online presentation of the poster project สำหรับโครงงานนี้นะคะเป็นโครงงานที่เราแบบว่าภูมิใจนำเสนอมากนะคะเพราะว่าเป็นโครงงานเครื่องเปิดฝาขวดน้ำแบบอัตโนมัติเนื่องด้วยว่าปัญหาก็คือมีผู้หญิงหลายๆคนนะคะรวมทั้งตัวครูเองนะคะไม่สามารถที่จะเปิดฝาขวดน้ำได้ค่ะนักเรียนเขาก็เลยไปศึกษาแล้วพบว่าแรงที่ใช้ในการบิดฝาขวดน้ำของผู้ชายแล้วก็ผู้หญิงไม่เท่ากันค่ะเราก็เลยคิดค้นเป็นนวัตกรรมขึ้นมาซึ่งนวัตกรรมตัวนี้ไม่ได้ตอบโจทย์แค่ผู้หญิงที่เปิดฝาขวดไม่ได้นะคะแต่เขาพัฒนาขึ้นมาสำหรับผู้ป่วยอะค่ะที่อาจจะไม่สามารถหรือว่าอ่อนแรงไม่สามารถที่จะเปิดฝาได้เครื่องมือตัวนี้เนี่ยก็จะวางอยู่ตามอาจจะเป็นเขาเรียกศูนย์ผู้ป่วยศูนย์ผู้สูงอายุอะไรประมาณนี้ค่ะ and our students are currently working on a drone project with school in Japan such as making use of drone in emergency heat control and marine pollution ซึ่งอันนี้เป็นขั้นตอนที่กำลังดำเนินการกับทางโรงเรียนที่เราทำ MOU ไว้ที่ญี่ปุ่นนะคะแล้วก็มีอีก7โรงเรียนที่เป็นโรงเรียนทางด้านวิทยาศาสตร์แล้วก็เทคโนโลยีค่ะแล้วก็ได้ส่งตัวแทนนักเรียนของเราเนี่ยที่มีความสนใจนะคะเข้าไปร่วมรีเสิร์ชพร้อมกันกับเขาค่ะ
Yes That brings the presentation to the end. We would like to thank you all for giving us the opportunity to share our teaching experience on project-based learning. Thank you very much.
มองในรถเป็นอย่างนี้จริงๆเลยวะมองในรถคือแบบถ้าเป็นอย่างนี้จริงๆโอ้โหคือแบบสุดยอดมากเลยนะว่าน่าจะปวดคอน่าดูอ่ะแค่ทุกวัน
Thank you, Ms. Patharalak Pokong and Mr. Wuttipong Buttaisong, the teacher from Sri Vidya to School. I think it's such an awesome presentation. It's such an awesome project, and many projects of your school can be an idea, a knowledge of many teachers that can apply to your project school. So it's such an awesome. So now we're gonna listen to the next speaker. So let's me introduce the speaker, Ms. Ganda Sulaiman, the teacher from Science and Technology Department at Satri Setabut Bampen School. The award and impressive work. Being a physics teacher as a speaker on the topic of รินน้ำใจสู่น้องชาวไทย Participate in session in Stun Province and Narathiwat Province by Office of the Basic Education Commissions. So now please welcome.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my presentation. Before we begin, let me introduce myself briefly. My name is Ganda Sulaiman. I work in Science and Technology Department at Sri Sebut Bampen School. Today, the topic to my presentation, a study of grade 12 students' learning achievement and scientific problem-solving skills in learning about fluid physics using project-based learning or Pbl. To start with, I will describe introduction and inspiration. Then I will mention methodology using project-based learning or Pbl. After that, we will consider about instruments for measuring and evaluation. Finally, I will talk about the achievement of the project. Let's begin. I will start off with our introduction and inspiration. The skill of 21st century is one of the most common skills heard this day, not because of the new century is coming, but it's because of what's been taught in previous classes aren't enough anymore. The world is advancing from historical era into digital era, manpower being replaced with robotic machinery and artificial intelligence or AI. Thailand distinguishes the relevant science of science and technology due to the progress of technology which acquire in impact on our daily life. Is also an essential appearance in developing the country. Scientific skill and process development are important points. Kipawan Kainara says, teacher must provide lessons of learning science which will research interest of practicing skills and increasing information. Project-based learning is the process of learning that improves student enthusiasm in obtaining knowledge of further advanced problem-solving skills. Okay, the researcher as a physics teacher myself, I had experience with providing knowledge, so it's been an interest of supervise in project-based learning. In physics class on the topic of fluid, to stimulate the students' motivation with self-learning experience in real life as well as teamwork. Moving on to the next topic, methodology using project-based learning or PBL. Methodology of project-based learning, Pbl Model according to Vijay Panit, believes that in order to build the power of learning in students, they should be able to practice by themselves through project teamwork and real-life issues are present in the diagram on the left. Please take a look at this picture. Student view and teacher view. Rushes of every piece are define, plan, do, review, and presentation. Participants were 26 grade 12 students in the first semester at State Subud Bampen. Research design was the action research consisting of plan, action, observe, and reflect. The first one, the management of project-based learning on 4 plans divided into 12 hours. The second one, test to measure the scientific problem-solving skills. The third one, test from result of grade 12 learning ability in physics on the topic of fluid. The last one, satisfaction survey for students on the learning technique of project-based learning. Moreover, we will be talking about instruments for measuring and evaluation. Research instruments include lesson plans, reflective journals, semi-construct observation, 3D model evaluation, protocol, semi-structured interviews, and scientific concept tests. Then, project-based learning management enabling students to learn by themselves, experimental activities, collaboration in working and doing activity through YouTube. In addition to science project activity using project-based learning, Pbl Model by Vijay Panit according to step 1, define. Teacher and students help brainstorm as well as create the design of Mentimeter result in students work in group with the teacher, coach, then construct their design, append on a Padlet. Step 2, planning process operated by the help of teacher providing convenience to stimulate students' motivation and inspire the critical aspect of the projects. Then the follow-up plan were observed via Google Meet for the group. Step 3, do. Students got to experience the skill and learn to find solutions of scientific problems. Teacher offers student cooperation among themselves on experiment and improvement of their append on the project. Step 4, review. Students examine the work and the activity process step by step as well as exchanging knowledge. Then student presents the advantages and disadvantages after the flying test via video clip. The last step, Presentation, presenting the work with charm and intelligence, then create an activity to test the flying airplane and allow them to measure the force of airplane while it's flying in the air. The researcher students satisfaction surveys is good level on project-based learning or PBL. Finally, I will go on to talk about the achievement on the project. Teacher support the students with potential in creating and building radio control arrow modeling. First, teacher provides students with professional radio control arrow modeling creator. Then get to learn how to fly and arrow modeling with stimulation. Additionally, students get to learn to practice flying a radio control arrow modeling near school at Hatayrat RC Airfield. The PAL project. Students create a radio control arrow modeling or compete in competition. Radio control arrow modeling for channels RC2 studies the science of aviation aircraft at จุลจอมเกล้า Royal Military Academy or โรงเรียนนายร้อยจปรนครนายก Province. Lastly, creating project-based learning or PBL activity using bicycle model of commercial comment with 5 steps is one of the methods to learn in 21st century. This also a learning opportunity for teacher and student as well as being a great encouragement to develop our country further. That is from me. Thank you for listening attentively. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kanda Sulaiman, the teacher from Sri Setabut Pampen for the presentation. Next, we are going to listen to the next speaker, Ms. Sukumanan, the science teacher at Pdl Model Siksa Pathanakan Suvarnabhumi School. Let's introduce the speaker, Scholarship Bachelor of Science in Education, Prince of Songkhla University, full scholarship. Master of Science, scholarship from the Institute for the Promotion of Teaching Science and Technology, the project of the Promotion of Science and Mathematics, Talent Teachers Premium. Work experience, Biology Teacher Science, Maths English Program, and gifted at Pdl Model Siksa Pathanakan Suvarnabhumi School. Award. An advisor of the first place and the second place OCOP, one classroom, one project. A well-informed teacher, modern and keep up with the changing world award in educational personnel honoring ceremony in 2021. Please welcome.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Before we begin, let me introduce myself. I'm Sukumanan from Pdl Model Siksa Pathanakan Suvarnabhumi School, and I'm a biology teacher. And today I would like to present on the topic of project-based learning, a powerful strategies to motivate student learning. First of all, I would like everyone to think about if you are sitting in the traditional classroom, especially the science class, and then the teacher come into the classroom and giving you a presentation, and then this he or she talk about the science theory or the phenomena or some abstract thing that you cannot make it into the real picture. or some complex content in science. So what's gonna happen if you are sitting there for 1 or 2 hours? Yeah, you will be bored, right? So our students also, they're gonna getting bored. And this is the research found that most of students that learn science in the traditional classroom, they found the difficulty, and this is showing the student perspective. They think that in science classroom, too many equation computation they have to remember and memorize. And then they don't like the teacher to come in front of the classroom and just talk. And sometimes they are assigning to like repeat the presentation of the teacher by taking notes, copying notes. And the important thing is they cannot relevance the science concept into the real life. So that is the big problem, right? And this is the research from Pdca in 2017. On the other hand, there are some kind of interesting science classroom from the student perspective. So those interesting science classroom, you have some like the characteristic, like the contents of the topic will like easy, and the teacher asking the student to do the real science, like the laboratory, and provide the opportunity to them to discuss and working with the peer or the other member in the classroom. And the student like to solving problem by themselves, so that characteristic of the science class can help the student to relate the science content to their daily life. So in the same way with the modern education, that we would like to promote the student to have many skills according to the 21st century skill, such as the critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. So this diagram showing here, as everyone can see here, this is the key subject, 3 R's, and 3 main topic of 21st century themes that they are talking about: life, career skill, learning innovation skill, and they are like would like to promote the student about digital literacy. So from 21st century skill. So I think most of everyone here, as you are a teacher, you might familiar with this quote from Confucius. As he said, I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand. So this is the concept of learning by doing. So what is the learning by doing? The learning by doing focusing on the student participating with the environment, and then they come up with the carrying of the physical activity. And this learning by doing are more under the constructivism theory. And the constructivism theory are developed by the popular educator Jean Piaget and John Dewey. These two fathers of constructivism believe that people or humans can construct their own understanding and their knowledge with the direct experience that they experience things in the real world, and then they will reflect of that experience into understanding. So this is from Piaget in year 1954. So that constructivism and learning by doing going in the same way, right? So in the process of brain thinking, we are learning the new things by adapting the previous experience. So in this process will consist of 2 main things, which are the assimilation and accommodation. And assimilation and accommodation are working together. In this process consists of the related, the reinterpret, reflection, and revise, and then it becomes adaptation of people or a human, which can show that when people understand so they can adapt to the environment. So the project-based learning is the one thing that are emphasizing on the student as the center of learning, right? So this project-based learning are promote the student to learn by let the student in-depth investigation, and they can put and like pick up the worthy topic or the thing are their interest to be in the title of the project, right? And then after they choose the interest topic, they will go through the developing of the skill because they have to apply the skill in the project, right? So as you can see here, during the project-based learning, the student may use the skill of problem solving, creativity, critical thinking, and communication. So those are the 21st century skills. And finally, after they are go through all the process, finally they can construct their personally and meaningful solution. This can be the thinking model or sometimes can be many kind of solution. So how do we implement the project-based learning in practice? How will we really use it in the classroom or expand it into the school level? In my opinion, I think that giving the whole piece of cake, the big one, to the student cannot absorb it. So we should cut it into the small pieces. So I have an idea to insert or adding the process of project-based learning into the classroom. So this is showing the example of how I insert the process of project-based learning into the classroom to make the student familiar with these steps. The first one is the class discussion. As you can see here, I asking the student to like firstly I give them the cases like if you put the fruit juice and it's left over and in tomorrow you come and observe and you found that there are many gases, how will you prove that? What is these gases and how it occurred? And then I ask them to come in front of the classroom, divide them into the group and make a group discussion first, then expand to the class discussion. And another way to promote the PBL step in the classroom is to assign the student to do the laboratory. So in this process, the student will learn through the scientific method. As you can see here on your right-hand side, this is the laboratory that I giving the problem to the student and giving them the living organism, which is an ant, and I give them the 3 species of herb. And I ask them that, how can you prove that? Which type of herb that can be the most effective one to chase ants away? So they're gonna go to observe the behavior of ants, how ants like escape from the chemical or some organic things. And then they will making a hypothesis and they want to prove the hypothesis. So they design the experiment and finally they discuss and make a conclusion. As you can see here, they are drawing the table, right? Okay, the next one, normally when we teach the student about the data collection, we teach in the classroom and like tell them how the scientists do in their real situation, right? But sometimes students don't have the opportunity to apply it into the real context. So in this class, I asked the students to act as a scientist going in the real context and let them collect the data using the scientific process. And this is here, they are counting the population of insects in the area that I limited to them. And interesting part here, I would like to suggest everyone as a science teacher to do is to introduce the real science to the student. As one class, I teach evolution, and I know that most of students think that the evolution is the abstract things and it's far from themselves, right? But in reality, the evaluation, there are many paleogeography and scientists working together, and they trying to analyze the data to prove the evolution. So I give the student the real journal publication and ask them to analyze it. So this is the result of the student that they analyze the journal here, and then they can make a conclusion also. And this is based on many graph and many pie chart, and sometimes some of the information here are from the picture under the microscope. So once the student familiar with the step of the PBL and they know how PBL look like. So now I like to expand the PBL from the classroom into the school level. Actually, in the TUPP school, we have the subject called OCOP, which is come from one classroom, one project. But actually, it's not one classroom, one project. It's one classroom, many projects. Yeah, and this is we are provide the student for the advisor. So the student have the main advisor as a class advisory. And if they need a special suggestion, they can ask any teacher to become the special advisory. And we also have MOU with the university, KMITL. And for the student, every classes from Mathayom 1 to 6 has to do the OCOP. And we give them 2 semesters for one project or 1 year per one project. And for the type of the project, it depends on the interest of the student. They can come up with the observation, experimentation, or if some group would like to create an innovation, they also can do. Or if some group, they would like to prove the theoretical insights, they also can. So this is the Pbl model that I use in classroom and the real project of the student. As you can see here, this is the model designed and developed by Niswadi 2017. And the main point of the Pbl model here is it would like the teacher to be as a facilitator and evaluate not the presenter. Yeah, and they are focused on the student-centered learning. Also, as you can see here, we have the 7 minor steps, and each 7 minor step here, we're gonna evaluate the student with formative assessment, and finally, we're gonna have give the student the summative assessment when they have the last presentation of the project. So another part that I would like to present is the example of the student project with my 1.5 years as a biology teacher in TUPP school. So this is the example of grade 8 student or Mathayom 2. This group of the students, they are interested in the microorganism. And they already know that Bacillus subtilis can treat wastewater, and they are searching the information, and then they found that the one species of yeast, which is Saccharomyces cerevisiae, can also adjust the pH of the water. And they think that if we are mixing these 2 microorganisms together, it will can have more efficient to treat the wastewater in the school. So this group of the students, they come up with the project title, Microbial Wastewater Treatment using Bacillus subtilis and Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So the purpose or the objective of them is to study the efficiency of the wastewater after the treatment. And as you can see here, this is the research methodology. My students, they are starting from collect the sample of the water in school pond, and then they are measure the quality of the water, and then they treat it, and then they are measure the quality again. So this is the result table of the student. Yeah. So they measure DO and BOD before and after they treat with the two species of the bacteria, and also they're showing the pH before and after. And this is, as you can see here, the quality of the water better than the quality before treating with the treatment. So as you can see here, the picture below, this is the presentation session of the student. So they have to present their project to many teachers from various departments, not only in science department. And another group of the students I would like to present, they are also student grade 8 or the Matayom 2 student. So this group of the students, they also interested in the two species of the bacteria, but different species with the group before. In this case, the student found that there are two species of the bacteria, Staphylococcus aureus and Escherichia coli, that can bring the disease to the human, such as sometimes it causes diarrhea, skin infection, or pneumonia. So they think that, or is there any organic compounds or the thing that can be used to prevent these two species of the bacteria to infect to the human? So they come with the project title, The Comparison of Antimicrobial Properties from Fruit Peel Extract to Staphylococcus aureus and Escherichia coli. So the objective of the project is to compare the inhibitory activity of Staphylococcus aureus and Escherichia coli from the mangosteen, kaffir leaf, grapefruit peel extracts, and then this is the research methodology. Actually, our school don't have the equipment enough to let the students grow the bacteria by themselves. So we are sending them to the university and let the student do with their university, and then they can grow bacteria. And then they come up with the result table showing here. As you can see in the result table, when they compare three types of fruit peel, the result found that the mangosteen is the most effective one to prevent the bacteria. And this is the presentation session of the student from my school. And they also present to various departments of the teacher, not just only science, and sometimes like the social science come and participate in the presentation session also. So this is all about my presentation that talk about the PBL or project-based learning that I implement in my school. For those who want to use the PBL in your class, you just start from the small step, or it can be like the small dot, and then you just go day by day. And one day your small dot can become a big point. So I would like to finish my presentation. If you want to ask or give any suggestion, you can feel free to ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Sukumanan, the teacher from เตรียมอุดมศึกษาพัฒนาการสุวรรณภูมิ All right, next we are going to listen to the next speaker. So let me introduce the speaker, Ms. Tharisa ไผ่สนจำลองศรี The teacher from Social Study Department at มัธยมวัดบึงทองหลาง School. Award and work received. 2 second runner-up beds of the Best Practice Award from Secondary Educational Service Area Office Bangkok 2 in 2019. The winner beds of the Best Practice Award from the Secondary School Consortium in 2019. 1 second runner-up Best Practice Award from มัธยมวัดบึงทองหลาง School in 2019. So now please welcome.
I can start now, right? Okay. Good morning. Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to meet you all today. My name is Tharisa ไผ่สนจำลองศรี สวัสดีนะคะ I am secondary school. I teach in social study in มัธยมวัดบึงทองหลาง School. I teach in มัธยม 3 and มัธยม 5 student. I am here to share and exchange my experience with all of you and hope this list will be helpful for you. In my presentation, I'm going to explain about how I apply project-based learning in my social study class. So let's begin. I will start with a quote. Actually, it's a real impact inspiration for me that come from my student. One of my students, he already graduated and going to university. He said to me once that what you taught me is very helpful. He felt like he gained a lot of skill from doing the project at that time. And his speaking skill, his managing skill, his technology skill become much better. So that word was so empowering me as a teacher, and it continued me to keep teaching the project-based learning until it's very, very hard and very complicated. Okay. Moreover, my inspiration came from participating a project citizen program. Do you know project citizen program? Have you ever heard of this? A project citizen program is a training program that created by the Center of Civic Education from United States of America. It leads students through the process of researching a problem and developing a proposal for the government to address that problem and integration with school identity. Because มัธยมวัดบึงทองหลาง School is the Buddhism-oriented school. เป็นโรงเรียนวิถีพุทธอะค่ะ แล้วก็เอาสิ่งที่เราได้รับอบรมจากการอบรม project based learning ที่เป็นคอร์สจากอเมริกาแล้วก็เอามา mix and match กันเกิดเป็นกระบวนการโครงงานขึ้นมาค่ะ so next slide is my project based procedure. It will combine project based citizen program and moral. I will use moral to mix with my procedure. Okay, the project citizen program have 6 steps, as you can see on my slide. and students have to pick one or more of moral ก็คือแบบหลักธรรมอะค่ะ they have to use moral to fix and use as a part of solving problem on their project. I'm sorry, I am a social studies teacher. If I'm not good at English, I'm so sorry. Next is step 1 and 2. Step 1 and 2 of my process is the student have to identify and selecting problem. They have to think about problem and share in pair จับคู่กัน share in pair talk about what problem in society that they want to solve. The issue could be a problem at the country, the problem in local, the problem in their community, or even the problem in their school. Then they have to find the way for the entire class to agree on just one single topic. Or if your class is have a lot of member, you maybe break out into 2 groups, 2 topics, something like that. And then if you identifying a problem, you have to select it. You can use think, pair, share. You can vote, or you can brainstorm and discussion to select the problem. There is so many ways to do. Step 3 is research and define the problem. This step is very fun and it very useful. Once students have agreed on the topic, they need to do some research. This should include some traditional gathering of research and statistics. Students should also do data collection in organization. They have to survey, go interview people in their community, or their students, interview students in their school. This research will help them define the problem and demonstrate that there is something they need to do, what they have to do next, what they have to find more, or something like that. Next is Pdca. I think you guys have heard about Pdca. Pdca is after they collect and research data, the students need to arrange steps of their action plan before they really do the activity. They need to do the Pdca. Pdca consists of plan, do, check, and act. In addition, the workflow must be integrated with Buddhism principle, which may apply any Dhamma principle ก็คือต้องมีการนำหลักธรรมมาใช้ด้วยนะคะในการทำโครงงาน After that, we will go on step 4. Step 4 is develop an action plan. This is a picture of student do the activity and develop an action plan. This step will happen after the students do the Pdca flow. It comes to the time they have to take real action and do the activity to solve the problem. This could be a letter writing campaign, speech at board of education meetings, social media, activism, and more that they can think of. Don't worry, our students is very ความคิดสร้างสรรค์ดีมากอะค่ะ but don't forget about stakeholder. They have to lay out some detail how they can motivate the stakeholder to take action, to be a part of it. Like they wanted to make the canal better. อยากทำคลองให้สะอาดขึ้นอย่างเงี้ยค่ะก็อาจจะต้องประสานกับสำนักงานเขตเพื่อให้ช่วยเหลือกิจกรรมด้วย yes step 5 is presenting portfolio is very important every single data that they have researched they need to keep in this portfolio every group have to have one portfolio and then they have to show up all of the member of group and presentation to the stakeholder, present to the board of education, present to the director of the school. And then after the presentation, we will have a project reflection and evaluation to give the advice and develop the project process of each group. The last one, they told me to show a little bit about my Proudly project. I cannot choose one because all of them are my Proudly project. So I didn't care that they will got the award or not, but I focus on how I focus on their process. So this is the last slide of me, and I would like to thank you all so much for listening to me. And it's very honor if some of my experience today will encourage everyone to start doing PBL in your class to your student. I think if I can do it, you can do it too. Thank you. จบแล้วค่ะ
Thank you so much, Miss Tharisa ไผ่สวนจำลองศรี the teacher from Social Study Department มัธยมวัดบึงทองหลาง All right, we're gonna go to the final. So let me invite the next speaker. So please welcome Ms. Nita Pirachai Pawong, who are responsible for the webinar and the project leader for special classroom and the head of HCAC Center to wrap up the webinar. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, our MC, and good morning, everybody. As you have listened to the lecture exchange and share experience about project-based learning activity in many subjects, you will find that the project-based instruction is one of the 21st century learning models. So this instructional model promotes learner development of their own understanding and knowledge, which is in accordance with the learner-centered approach, which is a form of learning by doing, learning from hands-on experience with a sample of opportunity of learner to apply their knowledge and skill. Under the project-based instructional model, learner makes connection of their existing knowledge and skill with the new experience, and they are expected to apply knowledge and skill to solve and deal with the new emerging issue as problem. It can be concluded that PBL is the 21st century approach to education in order to provide students with intelligent adaptive learning trajectory. Have the leadership is working to be able to guide themselves in development is a job creation and career and constantly check their own learning and moral that respect each other to must be honest and value citizen. So English language in 21st century, why the English learning is important. So at the present, teaching English emphasizes on communication competency, which focus on the learner ability to use English communication in global society and also help learner have the knowledge and skill in effective communication through the use of a student-centered curriculum. This curriculum aimed at learner begin able to create knowledge, having analytic thinking and innovation thinking, and can produce new products. The task-based introduction is a method of teaching which enable learning to use English meaningful communication to have analytic thinking and have critical thinking, to be able to solve problems and working with others. The enable learner to have knowledge and language skill that can be used communication in everyday life. Teacher as a facilitator will help learner learn to have language skill and communications, or these represent the characteristics of English language learning management in the form of productive-based learning with suitable for the periods of Thailand 4.0. So in addition, in the Ministry of Education have policy to accelerate learning reform the entire system to be connected to realize the quality of education and development the potential of learner, especially to enhance competency and English language skill to enable learner to use English for communications and as a to share knowledge with their development. So we which will lead the increasing to country competitiveness to achieve the goal. The Ministry of Education have therefore formulated a policy reform the teaching of English and basic education level order made to sector aware of the needs, accelerate reform the English and language teaching and to develop learner to be competent and competent required skill. So next, seek potential of the reforming teaching and learning English. According to Ministry and Educations and Policy Dying of Secondary Education Service Area Office Bangkok too. So the seek potential of reform teaching and learning English according to Ministry of Education announcement as follow. The first, the International English Language Proficiency Standard Framework, the Common European Frameworks of Reference for Language, CEFR, is used as the main conceptual framework for teaching and learning English in Thailand. Course design, teaching and learning development, testing, evaluation, teaching development, setting learning goals. The third, the second, adjust the focus teaching English to be accordance with the nation communicative language. Teaching CLT learning from the gamma emphasis to communication, starting from listening, speaking, listening, and writing. The third, promote the teaching and learning of English that standardized according to main standard frameworks. And the fourth, promote the upgrade English Proficiency is explained to special project of teaching and learning, EP, MEP, IP, EBE. So the fifth upgrade the teacher teaching learning ability to align with communicative-based learning CRT approach in the accordance with CEE-FR frameworks as a teacher fundamental knowledge trained teacher training, and last, accurate use media educational technology as the development tool. So it can be seen that English teaching management, project-based learning management is really important for teaching and learning in the 21st century. Now the time has passed, so we would like to end the presentations. Thank you for attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nita Pirachai Pawong. To wrap up the webinar. All right, so now we're gonna go to opening and sharing. We will have 10 minutes of opening sharing. Would you like to start it off to give sharing or to give a question? So at first, let's me invite Rong Wechakit Kyaw Sri Hawong, the Deputy School Director of Sri Rajan Pipat School, to give opening or sharing a question of this webinar. Please welcome. Rong เวชกิจอยู่ไหมครับ
สัญญาณไม่ดีปะคะท่านรองน่าจะไม่ได้เปิดไมค์
Good morning. I have a questions. Okay. Why is Pbl model is suitable for learner in 21st century?
Okay, why the PBL is important in the 21st century because the learner can learn by doing researching and practicing, so they can apply their knowledge, skill, and experience to solve and deal with the new issue and the problem. Yes.มีท่านใดจะถามคำถามไหมคะ
There are any participants who want to give a question, or would you like to share your opinion, or would you like to say something with the seminar, please?
Can I have a question, please? I would like to ask Satri Vitaya to school. Yeah, as you are presenting about the project of the student, and then they come up with their innovation. So I would like to ask that what is the how can we promote the idea that they come up with their innovation? What is the process that you use to encourage the student. Thank you.
ขออนุญาตตอบเป็นภาษาไทยนะคะจริงๆเราสอนรายวิชาเนี้ยนะคะก็มาประมาณ7 ปีค่ะก็คือทุกปีอะค่ะโครงงานจะเปลี่ยนไปตลอดเลยไม่ใช่ว่าเรา2 คนเนี่ยจะมีความรู้เพราะฉะนั้นสิ่งที่เราจะช่วยนักเรียนของเราได้อย่างแรกเลยก็คือเรามีทีมนะคะเป็นทีมครูวิทยาศาสตร์ครูคอมพิวเตอร์ที่จะช่วยในการดูแลตรงนี้ค่ะแล้วก็อย่างที่2เลยเราจะสอนเด็กเราก่อนว่าคุณควรจะไปสืบค้นหรือว่าไปหาข้อมูลทางไหนค่ะแล้วเราก็จะมีการเขาเรียกว่าอะไรเหมือนแบบรายงานกับครูที่ปรึกษานะคะก็คือเรา2 คนเนี่ยในทุกๆอาทิตย์ค่ะเราก็จะช่วยเด็กในส่วนตรงนี้ค่ะจนสุดท้ายแล้วเนี่ยมันออกมาเป็นตัวโครงงานค่ะเป็นนวัตกรรมแต่สิ่งที่สำคัญที่สุดที่จะทำให้เด็กของเราทำโครงงานได้นะคะคือการคัดเลือกหัวข้อซึ่งเราได้พรีเซนต์ไปแล้วว่า1เลยเขาจะต้องมีความรู้เพียงพอที่จะทำ2เขาจะต้องมีแหล่งข้อมูลที่จะพอหาได้นะคะและ3เขาจะต้องมีอุปกรณ์มีความสามารถต่างๆที่จะทำออกมาได้เพราะฉะนั้นการคัดเลือกหัวข้อโครงงานคัดเลือกดีประสบความสำเร็จไปแล้วครึ่งหนึ่งค่ะแต่ก็ไม่ใช่ว่าเด็กเราจะประสบความสำเร็จในทุกโครงงานนะคะสิ่งที่สำคัญที่สุดก็คือเราดูในส่วนของกระบวนการค่ะเพราะว่าบางโครงงานมันอาจจะเกินระดับมัธยมไป พี่ตอบน้องถูกเนาะนะคะ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
All right. Any other speaker or any other participant would you like to share or give the question? Okay, so I think we have already done with the sharing and give a question for this webinar. So, well, before we end this webinar, at this time, I would like to invite Ms. Jansuda Kelngampan, the Deputy School Director, Academic Affairs at Mathayom Wat Bung Thong La, to say thank you to all speakers of the webinar today. Please welcome.
Hello, yes. Okay, everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, dear Mr. Chairman, the guest speaker, and the organizers, and very important part of this of today, all of the audiences. I am Jansuda Kelngampan, the Deputy Director of Mathayom Wat Bung Thong La School. On behalf of the audiences here, from the beginning of the seminar till now, every speaker gave us a valuable and useful opportunity by sharing their knowledge and experiences, how to use a lot of techniques in project-based learning to encourage our children turns themselves from good students to be a good learners in their life. Sometime in the future, our children will realize that their skills, ability, and their lifelong learning by focusing to solve any problems might come by using the knowledge, skill, and experience got from you right now today. All of the speakers, all of the audiences, and every Thai teachers here, as we sacrifice ourselves to let them learn by using project-based learning, let them learn by doing themselves. Well, right now is the opportunity for would like to give you all our appreciation to all speakers from every schools and the organizer of this interesting seminar. Please accept our thankful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our webinar. On behalf of the webinar organizers, we would like to say thank you all for coming and be a part of this fantastic webinar. I hope that will be great for all of Thai teachers to participate in this webinar. And I hope to see you again in the next webinar. If you have occasion a good in English online webinar like this, stay safe from COVID-19 and have a wonderful day. สวัสดีครับขออนุญาตพูดเป็นภาษาไทยเพิ่มเติมนะครับจะขอชี้แจงในส่วนของการทำแบบประเมินนะครับขอชี้แจงสำหรับผู้เข้าร่วมสัมมนาครั้งนี้นะครับไม่ว่าจะอยู่ในช่องทางของ Zoom Application นะครับหรืออยู่ในส่วนของรับชมผ่านทาง Facebook Live นะครับเพจสพมกท2หรือทาง YouTube Live นะครับท่านจะได้รับลิงก์นะครับที่จะส่งให้ทำแบบประเมินความพึงพอใจเพื่อรับเกียรติบัตรครับซึ่งใน Zoom ก็จะขึ้นเป็น QR code ให้นะครับแล้วก็จะส่งเป็นลิงก์ในช่องแชทส่วนทางผู้ที่เข้ารับการอบรมสัมมนาครั้งนี้ที่ไม่ได้อยู่ใน Zoom นะครับก็จะสามารถทำแบบประเมินนะครับผ่านทางลิงก์ที่จะส่งให้ทางเพจ Facebook นะครับของสพมกท2ได้เช่นกันนะครับซึ่งระบบเนี่ยจะเปิดให้ท่านผู้เข้าร่วมสัมมนาครับทำในเวลาเที่ยงตรงนะครับจนถึงเวลาบ่าย2 โมงนะครับ12 นาฬิกาจนถึง14 นาฬิกานะครับผู้เข้าร่วมสัมมนาครั้งนี้ก็จะได้รับเกียรติบัตรผ่านการทำตอบแบบสอบถามความประเมินความพึงพอใจในลิงก์ที่ส่งให้นะครับจะได้ทุกคนเลยที่เข้าทำแบบประเมินครั้งนี้นะครับสน.พิธามีอะไรชี้แจงเพิ่มเติมไหมครับ
ก็ตอนนี้นะคะทางทีมงานก็ได้วางลิงก์ไว้ในกลุ่มแฟนเพจของกลุ่มนิเทศสพมกท2นะคะสำหรับผู้เข้าร่วมอบรมที่ไม่ได้เข้าชมในZoomนะคะไม่ต้องกังวลใจนะคะทุกท่านจะได้รับเกียรติบัตรทุกคนไม่ว่าจะชมในช่องทางไหนเพราะว่าในช่องข้อความแชทใน Facebook เนี่ยเยอะมากคือทุกท่านเป็นกังวลนะคะก็ไม่ต้องกังวลระบบจะเปิดให้ทำแบบสอบถามตั้งแต่ 12 นาฬิกาถึง 14 นาฬิกานะคะก็คือถ้าเกิดสมมุติว่าหลังจาก 14 นาฬิกาแล้วนะคะถ้าท่านเข้าไปก็คือระบบปิดแล้วก็จะไม่ได้รับเกียรติบัตรเพราะฉะนั้นรบกวนทุกท่านผู้เข้าร่วมสัมมนานะคะเข้าร่วมทำแบบประเมินความพึงพอใจเพื่อรับเกียรติบัตรตามเวลาที่ได้แจ้งไว้ด้วยค่ะสำหรับวันนี้ก็ขอขอบคุณทุกท่านนะคะที่เข้าร่วม
เดี๋ยวขอประชาสัมพันธ์นิดนึงนะครับสำหรับในเดือนหน้านะครับก็สำนักงานเขตพื้นที่การศึกษามัธยมศึกษาสำหรับสพมกท2ของเรานะครับก็ยังมีสัมมนาทางวิชาการดีๆอีกนะครับในวันที่25 กุมภาพันธ์ 2565นะครับในหัวข้อเรื่องการสร้างชุมชนแห่งการเรียนรู้ทางวิชาชีพนะครับเพื่อพัฒนาการจัดการศึกษาตามหลักสูตรฐานสมรรถนะนะครับก็ในวันนั้นจะมีวิทยากรที่มากความสามารถนะครับแล้วก็อย่างมากมายเลยทีเดียวในภาคเช้านะครับจะมีผู้บริหารสถานศึกษานะครับโรงเรียนเตรียมอุดมศึกษาพัฒนาการสุวรรณภูมิโรงเรียนเตรียมอุดมศึกษาพัฒนาการโรงเรียนสุขุมนวพันธ์อุปถัมภ์และก็โรงเรียนพุทธจักรวิทยาซึ่งเป็นตัวแทนของโรงเรียนขนาดใหญ่พิเศษขนาดใหญ่ขนาดกลางแล้วก็ขนาดเล็กนะครับมาให้ข้อคิดแล้วก็มาแลกเปลี่ยนเรียนรู้เกี่ยวกับเรื่องของการทำ PLC ในโรงเรียนนะครับแล้วก็ในขณะเดียวกันในช่วงภาคบ่ายนะครับเราก็จะมีนวัตกรรมการจัดการเรียนรู้ของคุณครูในอีกมากมายหลายโรงเรียนเลยครับสำหรับที่เขาได้ผลิตนะครับออกมาจากที่เขาได้มีกระบวนการ PLC ของเขาขึ้นมาครับขอบคุณนะครับครับแล้วก็พบกันใหม่นะครับสำหรับสัมมนาครั้งหน้านะครับในวันที่25 กุมภาพันธ์ 2565ขอบพระคุณทุกท่านมากครับสวัสดีครับ
ขอเก็บภาพอีกตอนท้ายอีกนิดนะคะสำหรับท่านวิทยากรแล้วก็ท่านที่ยังอยู่กับเรานะคะขอเก็บภาพตอนสุดท้ายไว้นิดนึงนะคะทุกท่านเปิดกล้องได้ค่ะนะคะสำหรับท่านวิทยากรขอบคุณมากๆนะคะสำหรับวันนี้แล้วก็ผู้ร่วมรับชมด้วยนะคะ ค่ะโอเคนะคะรูปที่1นะคะ1 2 3โอเค next ค่ะโอเคค่ะสำหรับวันนี้ก็ขอบคุณมากนะคะค่ะแล้วก็มีโอกาสก็จะต้องได้มาพบกันใหม่นะคะเพราะว่าสำนักงานเขตวิทยาการศึกษามัธยมศึกษาเขต 2เราก็จะมีงานสัมมนาออกมาเรื่อยๆก็ขอบคุณท่านวิทยากรทุกท่านนะคะแล้วก็ขอบคุณผู้เข้าร่วมรับชมวันนี้ที่ให้ความสนใจอย่างล้นหลามค่ะขอบพระคุณค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
ใครได้รับเกียรติบัตรออนไลน์เรียบร้อยแล้วก็สามารถแชร์กันใน Facebook ได้
students were asked to enter the following year's competition and had decided how they wanted to approach the next project. The students were asked to enter the following year's competition and had decided how they wanted to approach the next project. The students were asked to enter the following year's competition and had decided how they wanted to approach the next project.
That every
Okay, thank you so much, dear Mr. Chairman, the guest speaker.
Plan on STEM project.
ระบบรักษา
And they think that
no STEM project flip